guys, I'm Kimberly from It's So Emma, and we came out with a line of foundation paper, and the goal of this line is to be able to take really hard blocks and make them perfect. So the Snail Trail block, you can see it was published in 1935, but it's a lot of templates and a lot of squares and a lot of bias seams. So we came up with the 6-inch pad and the 12-inch pad, and if you use this foundation paper, your block is going to come out perfectly. So let's demo how to make the block. So for the 6-inch size, we made it pre-cut friendly. So we're going to be using layer cake squares, and I've got a background square and a print square. And using this paper, I highly recommend using the add a quarter rulers and the quick press seam roller, and of course some scissors. So let's get started. So in each Snail Trail paper pad, there's 42 sheets, so you can make 42 blocks. And we have this made on special paper that's really nice and easy to tear off. Everything is numbered, and it makes it super easy. On the back side of the cover, it's going to tell you exactly what to cut, and it's different for your 6-inch blocks and your 12-inch blocks. And paying attention to the numbers is really important. So we've already cut all of our fabrics. They're just very simple squares, and on 5 through 20, you just cut each square on the diagonal once. And another great bonus of our paper pads is on the next page, we have different size options. So if you want to make a wall hanging, a lap, a crib, a twin, a queen, a king, or a table runner, it gives you size guides so you'll know how many blocks to make. So to start making the blocks, all you do is pull out one piece of paper. And what I like to do before I make this block is make a crease on all of the solid lines. It's going to make everything much easier later. And using this add a quarter is really nice because it's going to give you a paper fold. And this will just help you as you're building your block. So now I have the creases, and that's going to make it easier on the other side so you can see where you're going to place your fabrics. So before we start working with foundation paper, we're going to sew the 1, 2, 3, and 4 into a 4 patch, and we're going to just use a 1/4 inch seam. So just sew these together, and we'll be right back with a 4 patch. So now we have a 4 patch assembled. We pressed open, and you just use a 1/4 inch seam like you would do in normal piecing. And now we're going to move to foundation piecing. So with foundation piecing, it can be a little bit confusing at first, but just try to remember your numbers are the side you're going to sew on. And this side, the blank side, is the side that you're going to lay your fabrics on. And right here, you can find the very center. And if you look at your shading, right here, these are the darker shades, and these are the lighter. I'm going to put some glue. I'm just using a Sew Line glue stick, and so my darker piece is right here. You just want the very center of your seam to line up right here. So you'll just line that up, look on the back and make sure it looks correct, and it does because I can actually see my seams and it looks good. So we're going to leave our fabric there, and then we've done 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we need to move to 5. So what you'll do is you've already creased your fabric. So right here, crease it at the number 5. If you put your add a quarter right here, it's going to give you an exact 1/4 inch seam, which is why I love this ruler. And then we're going to add the 5. So just go to your design board, and these 5 and 6 are darker, and I'll just place this right here. And you can find the center by just placing it right there, and we're going to put a little glue. And that way your fabric won't shift. Glue is not required. It's just something that I like to do. And then we're going to go to the sewing machine, and we're going to set our stitch length to like a 1.2, 1.3, and we're going to sew not just from here to here. We're going to start a 1/4 inch out, go all the way across, and go a 1/4 inch past. That's going to keep your stitches nice and secure. We're going to come back over here, and you can press right now if you would like, or you can use a seam roller. I prefer to use a seam roller just to save time, but if you're going to iron, do not use steam because that will shift the size of your paper. So you're going to go in numerical order. So we've done 5. Let's move to 6. And again, your paper should crease because we creased it in the beginning. Do that same thing. And by having all of your alphabetties on here and keeping it numbered is going to keep it nice and straight because a lot of the pieces are kind of the same shape, and it's just going to keep it easier for you. And on this, super easy, just glue that down. It's going to look like this. Just flip it over and do the same thing. Stitch directly on that line, starting and ending a 1/4 inch before and after. And so we've stitched the 6. Press that. And now we can do 7 and 8, and we can probably do those at the same time. Now, what you'll have to do is you'll have to pull your paper back slightly because you've stitched over. So just pull your paper a little bit until it will crease at that 7-inch line and trim. And the reason we've lowered our stitch length is when you pull the paper off at the end, it's going to pull off nicer if you have a shorter stitch length. So 7 and 8 are right here, and if you put them down, they're not going to overlap on seams. So you can put the 7 and the 8, and you just want your fabric to be right side down. Flip that over, and you're going to sew on the 7 and the 8, starting and ending a 1/4 inch away. And that is how easy foundation paper is. And the best thing about our paper is we have really nice paper, and it's all numbered so you won't get out of order. So we've ended at 8. Let's move to 9 and 10. And you can do 2 at the same time since they're opposing corners. And then go to the 10. And right here, you just need to pull the paper slightly to pull it up from right here, just to get right there. And by trimming the 1/4 inch away, you are reducing the bulk on the back of your piece so it will come out nice and pretty. So 9 and 10 are right here. And just put a little glue. I'm probably putting a little bit too much glue, but I don't want it to shift. And you don't have to put this exactly in the center. It's just important to put your fabrics right side down. And then you're just going to continue doing that same technique to make the whole block. So here is how our snail trail block looks now, and you can see the design forming, and you can see that it's oversized. Now when you're looking at this paper, you'll see that there is a line that says trim on this line, do not trim on this line. So what you would do is use your ruler and cut each side. So you can do it one side at a time, like that. Or since this is a 6.5 inch unfinished, you can take the Creative Grids 6.5 inch square ruler and place it right on those lines. And then you can just cut one side at a time. If you use a rotating mat, it won't move. And I just use the same rotary blade in my rotary cutter that I normally would. It might get dull a little bit quicker using the paper. And then from here, you're just going to pull the paper off. And I prefer to cut it down before I cut my paper off so that you can see your trim lines. And I pull the paper from the outside to the inside. And what I do to make it easy, crease and pull, and just go around the edge, go from the outside to the inside. Now once you've pulled all the paper off, you might see some little pieces like this, just tiny pieces. I would just pull those off so that you don't have paper in your quilt when you sew it together. Now some people will leave all the paper on until their whole quilt top is assembled and then pull the paper, and that's another option that you can try. As you start to make more blocks and lay them out, you're going to see why the block is called Snail's Trail. And you can see right now we have the background in the center, but you can also put the dark in the center. And we're going to show you a quilt that's going to demonstrate that. And another thing to remember is we use 2 prints in this block, but you could use all scrappy prints to have a scrappy quilt. So play with your blocks and see what kind of variety you can come up with. I hope I've shared some tips that will help you when you're working with foundation paper pads. And make sure to check out the It's Sew Emma website for our full range of foundation paper, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.